Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Zach Young, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we're joined by Marcellus Bowman, a head strength and conditioning coach, former professional football player, and founder of performance brand Eat, Sleep, Peak, where he helps elite athletes and high performers build durable bodies and resilient mindsets that translate on and off the field. Marcellus draws on his years in the CFL and his work leading performance programs to teach the principles of intensity, discipline, and recovery, giving his clients a clear framework to unlock peak performance while sustaining long-term health and success. Marcellus, a very, very warm welcome to Founders Future.
Zach, I appreciate it, man. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great episode. We have a lot to dive into. Before we do, I do like to start with your background a little bit. I know I touched on it in the intro a little bit, but just walk us through before Eat, Sleep, Peak. What were you doing and what was really your inspiration for getting into this space?
Yeah, so an athlete, played a lot of sports, but went to Boston College, played there. After college, I signed with the Broncos, got cut pretty early from there and came up to the CFL and played up in the CFL for 5 years as a linebacker. And then once my career ended, I went into collegiate coaching, coached at Auburn for a couple seasons, then coached down at UCF in Orlando, Florida, got out again. And what's interesting is when I got out of football the second time after coaching, as soon as I got my new job, pandemic hit, lost the job. So it was at that point, then I was like, you know what, I've been thinking about doing this thing for a while as far as starting my own company. And, now that I have to, let's get it going. So that's when I launched Eat, Sleep, Peak. At that time, it was an online training or only online training platform. And now it's morphed into more of a supplement company and, obviously the books and programs and different things like that.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely dive into that. But I just got to say, as tough as a time COVID was, it truly was a time of opportunity.
It really was.
To change your life, to change what you're doing. You finally had time to sit down and think, hey, is this what I want to do with my life? Exactly. And I mean, I get so many people I talk to on this podcast, their business started during COVID.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing where I look at it as one of those things where I don't know if I would have started it if it wasn't for that moment. Now, I would have preferred it to be a different scenario, but, being what it was, I think it was a God thing where it was a perfect time for me to launch it, take a leap of faith, and also put forth the effort with the time that I had, because I had a lot of time at that moment, right? So I think it was a special time.
I love that. I absolutely love it. So you mentioned, when Eat, Sleep, Peak started, more of an online coaching business, you're moving into the supplement space.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what kind of made you want to take the business that direction?
You know what? I've always been a fan of supplements. Ever since I took my first one in college, I took a pre-workot called I forgot what it's called. No, it wasn't C4. It was by Muscle Milk. It was Fast Twitch, and it was just caffeine. That's all it was. But it was the first time I took one before a workout, and I just levitate. I was like, "There's something legal I can take, and it makes me feel like this." And ever since then, I just kind of got into nutrition in general, but definitely supplementation, to find what can I take that will give me that extra 1, 2, 3% of improvement on whatever I'm trying to do. So from that point on, I've constantly tried to find different things that's going to give me the edge. And then what happened was during the pandemic, with the people that I was working with, I kept getting questions about what can I take for this? What can I take for that? What about this brand? What about that brand? And I just kept sending so many different people, so many different Amazon links that I was like, I might as well just make my own, because I couldn't find the one that was legitimate enough for me to be like, I put my name on this one. So it was at that moment where I was like, I need to start this process of making my own supplements. The first batch I launched was a pre-workout. It was a creatine, and it was an energy supplement. It was in 2021, 2022-ish. And then most recently, I launched another line, an updated pre-workout and a recovery supplement that is doing really well nowadays.
Love it. Walk us through the sourcing process.
Yeah.
For these supplements. You just, what kind of a journey was that?
It's a lot of phone calls. So you do a lot of searching online to find a manufacturer that checks the boxes. One, they have to have all the certifications. There's a lot of questionable, businesses out there. So the certifications need to be legitimate. You got to check the Better Business Bureau. website, make sure that their rating is it's good there. There's no, disgruntled people listing that company as an issue. And then you have to make sure you find a company that can make the product the way you want it to. Because I wanted a custom formula. I didn't want something pre-made that they're just kind of put a label on it. No, I wanted something that was actually legit. So I had to find a company that did that. And then I had to find a company that didn't want me to start out with 20,000 units for my first purchase. So I tried to find one that was a little bit less or a little bit lower of a minimum order quantity. And once I found that, then went to a series of getting the samples and tweaking the samples until you got what you want. Once the sample is set, everything else is just, label design, making sure the FDA or it's clear and compatible with the FDA requirements, all those little small things before you actually launch. But this one most recently, this one I had a third-party certification on it so that I can certify it so that it's super clean for athletes to use too. Because the first one was certified through the manufacturer as far as like good manufacturing practices and different things like that. But this one I wanted to have, I wanted athletes that are both collegiate and professional to feel confident that they can take this, ingest this, and they won't get popped and ruin their career because of my product. So I got a third-party certification there with that as well. And that's another thing I'm really happy about because it gives me the confidence knowing that, not only is the entire process legit, but now I can prove it for the athlete.
Yeah. Very important. Very important. You mentioned something a couple minutes ago. You said, all these Amazon links you were sending out, it's nothing you would put your name on, right? And if for anyone listening who's at least aware of the supplement industry, right? A lot of this good stuff that's in these supplements, it's low quality, it's subpar, it's not accurately dosed.
Yeah.
Is it truly that much more expensive for the business owners to have those high quality products to put into their products? And that's why a lot of people cheap out on it?
1,000%, because it's one of those things where each different type of product has a different profit margin. So for example, I launched a protein, actually, I forgot about that, 2023. And the profit margins on protein, pretty bad. Like it's not an enjoyable process to go through that. So that's why I'll do that one again later. But for the pre-workout, what they do, as far as what a lot of companies do, is they'll list that, hey, my product has 21 of the top most well-researched ingredients in one scoop, right? And it sounds amazing. But then when you turn the bottle around and you look past the marketing, you look at the actual nutritional label, you find that every one of those things are underdosed to the point where you won't get any of the clinical benefits of any of those ingredients except for caffeine. Because caffeine is the one that everybody feels, right? So it's one of those things where because I kept seeing so many things that were over marketed and underdosed, I was like, for me being an integrity person, I have to make something that is, the marketing is going to actually be backed up by the label and the label will back up the marketing. They're going to work together. So for example, my scoop is 14 grams. I think I have 7 or 8 ingredients. It's 14 grams in a scoop. There are pre-workouts out there that's a 5-gram scoop. So it's almost 3 times smaller per serving, but it has twice the amount of ingredients. So twice the amount of ingredients, smaller dose per ingredient, which means everything is underdosed. It's a way. So, there's a lot of tricks and lies in marketing and supplementation, the supplement world. And if you don't know how to read the back of the label, you'll get caught.
Yeah. Okay. So just like when, we're buying stuff at the grocery store, we got to read the back of the label.
Exactly.
Same thing when we're buying the supplements.
Same game.
I got to be honest. I was surprised what you said about the protein powder being low margins. I feel like, go back 10 years ago, maybe when I started hitting the gym, I could get a 30 serving tub of protein for maybe $30 from Cellucor. That's what my mind is bringing up. And now it's like any tub of protein is like $50, $60.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
And that's what happened during the pandemic. The prices for everything skyrocketed, especially protein and creatine, because those were the 2 cheapest and most effective supplements on the market, where like the research backed it up. Everybody could benefit from a creatine and a protein. And then both the creatine cost and protein cost skyrocketed to where it was like, unless you're a major company doing so much of volume that you can hold on to it because of the other, products you have under your umbrella, it just became a not so fruitful endeavor. So, and the other thing is my protein wasn't trash. It was higher quality stuff. It wasn't a whole bunch of fillers and, low quality sugars and stuff in it too. So it was, things have changed. Now they're getting better, but things have changed significantly since before the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. Some for the best, like we talked
Yeah.
about, right? Some for the worst, unfortunately, but that's just
Yeah.
kind of life, right? Got it. So, Marcellus, look into the back end of the business for a second. How are you currently marketing the supplements? Because as we talked about, there's so many supplements out on the market right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's primarily online through my social media. I'm also, because of the team, I'm working with the team to figure out we can make a deal because the team used it last year so the players could market it, but I couldn't necessarily put the TiCat logo on it because I didn't have an official partnership with them. So that's something I'm working on for this next upcoming season. But primarily right now, it's actually through word of mouth and it's through online social media.
Nice.
And the beautiful thing is when you make a product that's legit, people are going to say something, so it makes it very easy from that perspective. But I also want to get out and hit the streets this year where I'm going out to the local gyms in the area and just going to have a conversation with them and see if we can work something out there.
Yeah. And I got to say, I've been through your website. Your pricing is very reasonable, especially because you have such high quality stuff as well. So I'm sure that'll do well. So you mentioned social media. Walk us through kind of your social media strategy when it comes to marketing the business.
For me, it's because there are millions of people online saying, do this, don't do that, right? Why should someone listen to me versus the next person? Well, what I try to make sure that I do is that I try to squeeze context into every post that I make, right? And I also try to make my post within the philosophy that I built my company off of, which is Eat, Sleep, Peak, right? So whenever I'm making a post, I try to make sure that it is as one scientifically valid as possible, while also being entertaining. You got the graphics and everything slide across the screen, while also being digestible. So that if you are a professor at McMaster, which is a local university up here, or if you are a 16-year-old who's now just wants to try pre-workout or a creatine, you can both understand it. The professor can say, hey, that's legitimate information, and the 16-year-old can say, I understand what you're trying to say. So that's what I'm trying to master right now. What I've seen actually, grow, because nowadays Instagram has, for example, the analytics. You can look at each post and see when people like it, when the retention falls off, all those different things like that. So I have a sheet on my Google Drive where after every post, 24 hours later, I look at the metrics. I see the likes, I see the shares, the comments. I look at all these things and either put a red, a yellow, or a green marker on it to show that, okay, this is at standard, this is below standard, this is above standard. And based off of that kind of process, that will help kind of create the next post where, okay, I need to say this faster. I need to hold off this piece of information different. I need to deliver this in a different way. I got to add humor there, right? So I try to systematically approach everything so that I can repeat it over a while.
I like that a lot. I think the saying is, what is not tracked does not get improved.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
I love
100%. That. That's exactly it.
Very cool. Currently, what is your favorite social media platform and why?
Right now, it is Instagram, simply because of the demographic that's on is a mix between Facebook and TikTok. I feel like it's in the middle of that, where Facebook is my aunts and uncles, and it's a different kind of energy on Facebook. And then TikTok is, I don't even mess with it. It's a little too intense for me. It's too wild. It's too fast, too quick. I feel like with Instagram, I can add enough context and validity to each post, but it's not necessarily a YouTube video where it's 20 minutes long. So it has to be bite-sized, but it's not so small to the point where I'm putting out low-quality information that people can actually benefit from. And it's what I spent the most amount of time on. So that's why I like Instagram over the other options.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I got to be honest, I love the way you broke both those down. Right. Yeah. Facebook, aunts, uncles, grandparents, if they're still around. That's TikTok is probably like your nephews and your nieces. And like you said, that place is the wild, wild west.
Yeah. We don't really understand what's
going on there.
I'm not going to dance.
Instagram makes sense. When you think about the fitness industry right now, like brands like Gymshark, Young LA, they are most prevalent on Instagram. That makes a lot of sense.
That's right.
Marcellus, 2026 is just about a couple hours away. Any specific goals you've set for yourself in the business you're looking to achieve next year?
You know what? My main goal is to sell out Every time I've launched a new line of supplements, I've sold out. And this most recent purchase has been the largest one by far. 10 over 10 times larger than what I've done before. So what I want to do, I've developed the skill set of selling out the smaller orders with both the old pre-workout, the creatine, the energy, and the protein that I've done in the past years. This year, I want to sell out of the pre-workout and the recovery supplement. Once I develop the skill set to be able to do that with that size of an order, I'll be in a really good spot to make an even larger order and just keep scaling up from there. Because I'm a head strength coach, I have 6 months to figure it out. Or 6 months to really work on the business, figure it out. And then the last month, that 6-month period, I automate so that I can go ahead and be a coach, do that thing, and then I'll pick it back up the next 6 months after the season to do that cycle over again. So that's the goal.
Well, a lot of things can happen in 6 months.
Yeah,
a lot of scaling can happen. So great goals to have. 2026 sounds like it'll be a pretty good year. That's for sure. Marcellus, we talked about social media a little bit. If the listeners wanted to find you on social media, is it just Marcellus Bowman on all the social media?
No. So on Instagram, it's Coach Boom III. That stands for the third. So Coach Boom III. That's my Instagram. On LinkedIn, yes, Marcellus Bowman. Just type that in and you'll find it there. I'm not really on Twitter or Facebook too heavy. So Instagram is the spot.
Got it. And then website is just eatsleeppeak.com. Is that right?
That's correct.
Perfect. Love it. Marcellus, pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for your time today.
Zach, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And that will wrap up another inspiring episode of The Founder's Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go and connect with Marcellus on all of his social media and website. All of those links will be in the show notes and description down below. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're looking to scale your business, and you really want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we went from 0 to 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.